Greetings all, this is Hairy Nick back again to take another look at a snapshot of the X-Wing meta. The regional season here in Australia is over halfway done, we're drawing to a close soon. But for today we're going to have a look at the Tasmanian regionals. Now first of all I have to apologise, this video is very late. This happened a few weeks ago. It was the same weekend as the South Australian regionals, which I've already done a video on. So without further ado, let's dive in and have a look at what went on in the top 8 of the Tasmanian regionals for 2018. And just a quick note before we dive into this top 8, guys, you can find all the information for the regionals here on the X-Wing List Juggler website hosted by the Scum and Villainy podcast. As you can see here, all the information for most of the top lists of all these tournaments, definitely all the top 8 and that kind of stuff is all available here. So if you have a genuine interest in what's getting flown, jump over onto this website. I'll provide the link in the description and you can see all the rest of the information there. The faction breakdown was pretty even. We had 2 scum lists this time. Probably one of the better showings it's had. The faction's really struggling right now. Look, this doesn't really mean anything. 2 out of a top 8 isn't really anything special. We had 20 small ships, 6 large base ships, and a nice variation in squad sizes. We managed to get 2 4-of ships and even a 5-of. And for something a bit different, the Y-Wing was by far the most popular ship with a 6-of. We also had 3 TIE SFs with quick draw, 3 Alpha class Star Wings with the new Squadron Pilot, 2 Lambda class shuttles, 2 Jumpmaster 5000s and 2 A-Wings. And then 1-ofs of the Inquisitor, Dash Render, PS9 Poe, Darth Vader, Rebel Captain Nim, Captain Rex, AP5 and Asajj Ventress. And just a few special lists I want to talk about. We had this list once again by Andrew Frederick. If you're watching, Andrew, well done. I really like the look of this list. If you haven't thought of a name for it, by the way, I suggest Value Town Rebels. It's a 5-of build, which is really hard to pull off, but I think this is just a great all-round list with some basic, good, effective upgrades. And also on the subject of spams, we had this list by Brendan Morrissey, and this is really cool. It's a bit of a weird take on the crowd control style 4 of Y-Wings list we've seen floating around a bit. It uses the synced turret on 3 of these Gold Squadron pilots with Flight Assist Astromech and BTLA-4 Y-Wing. And that's really cool. Synced turret is one of these cards that I want to love, but it is so hard to get it working. And I like what's happened here is because you can use Flight Assist Astromech to try and line up those shots. You're not relying on the 360 arc, you're just trying to target lock your opponent and just hammer it with that sync turret. And I think out of all the applications of sync turret I've seen, this seems to make a lot of sense. One of those aforementioned Y-Wings also has plasma torpedoes tacked on. And we also have a stress bot that's been upgraded from a Gold Squadron pilot to a Grey Squadron pilot. A stress bot being a Y-Wing with a TLT, R3A2 and BTLA-4 for some really spicy, stressy goodness. Yeah, just a really interesting asymmetric Y-Wing build. Looks really cool, looks really effective, and I like the thinking behind this. And one more list before we go on to the winner. This one's by Liam Ely, and this is a bit of a weird take on the PAL bases list we're seeing. It has quick draw, like basically every other PAL base list we see at the moment, but instead of the Inquisitor we have Vader, and both of them have taken the cruise missiles and guidance chips. And that just seems very interesting. I don't know if this is the best thing we can be doing with quick draw, but I guess if you're the kind of pilot that likes to use ordnance, this is just really fun. Fire control systems means we can get those cruise missiles off with relative ease, and that's always a good thing. I will note though that Quick Draw does not have lightweight frame, and Vader does not have engine upgrades. These are usually modifications that these guys prefer to take, but the reality is flying these 2 guys alongside each other, they're both very expensive. It's very hard to do that. As I said before, usually Quick Draw is flown alongside the Inquisitor. The Inquisitor is much cheaper, and that's why you're able to afford the proper nuts on both of those ships. You don't have to compromise on those builds in any way. Which, yes, brings me on to the winner here, Ben Doyle. This is the classic Quick Draw Inquisitor Captain Yor list that we've seen. This is now the 3rd regionals this is taken, actually. Yeah, this list is nuts. I'm going to do a massive wrap up of all the regionals when this is done. I'm going to talk about some of the lists that have been really shaping the meta lately. And right now, this is the new hotness in Australian regionals. And not much to say, really solid list. Really good to see Palp doing good post-nerf. And definitely something to look out for in future regionals. Now before we wrap up this video, guys, I do want to mention the New South Wales regionals has just taken place on this weekend of recording. We're now down to the big two, the New South Wales and Victoria, and these are the big guns. For those of you who don't know, the capital cities of New South Wales and Victoria, Sydney and Melbourne respectively, have the largest populations, and we have the largest X-Wing communities in Australia as well. So these ones are really the most telling. I haven't seen the stats from the New South Wales regionals yet, but I will have a look at that during the week, make a video on that. It'll be interesting to see what does well there, whether it's this Palpace's list. We haven't seen much Kanan Fenn from the other regionals, which is bizarre considering how well that list is doing around the world. But I'm going to keep a good eye on that because in a couple weeks' time, I'm going to the Victorian regionals. And I really have my work cut out for me because I really have to take a deep breath, sit down, sift through what the meta is doing and decide what I have to take to fly there. But that'll be a heap of fun. In the meantime, guys, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next top 8, which will be the New South Wales regionals in a few days. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, and I will catch you later.